My name is Donald. I'm 81 years old, and someone else raised my daughter. I don't say that for pity. I say it because it's true, and because I'm sitting here now, in this apartment that's too quiet, realizing that the shape of my life was decided a long time ago by things I didn't say, things I didn't do. Her name is Emily. I haven't seen her in 16 years. I was 23 when she was born. Her mother's name was Caroline. We weren't married. We'd been together maybe 8 months. We were young. We were careless. And when she told me she was pregnant, I remember the feeling that came over me wasn't joy or fear. It was distance, like I was watching it happen to someone else. Caroline wanted to keep the baby. I didn't argue. I didn't fight. I just nodded. I said, okay. I said I'd help. I said a lot of things that sounded right at the time, but I didn't mean them. Not really. Emily was born in October. I was there. I held her. She was small and red, and her fingers wrapped around mine, and everyone said that's supposed to change you. That's supposed to flip some switch inside. It didn't. I looked at her, and I felt nothing. Now, that's not true. I felt trapped. Caroline and I tried for a while. We got a small place together. I worked at a printing shop. She stayed home with Emily. I'd come back at night, and the apartment would smell like formula and laundry, and I'd sit on the couch and feel like the walls were closing in. I told myself I was too young, that I wasn't ready, that this wasn't the life I'd imagined. But the truth is simpler than that. I didn't want to be a father, and I didn't know how to say it. So I left. Not all at once. I did it slowly, carefully. I started staying out longer. I'd go to a bar after work. I'd say I had extra shifts. I'd come home late, and Caroline would be asleep on the couch with Emily on her chest, and I'd just walk past them into the bedroom. I stopped asking how she was. I stopped holding the baby. I stopped pretending. And one night, Caroline looked at me and said, "You're not here anymore, are you?" I didn't answer. She said, "If you're going to leave, just leave." So I did. I moved into a friend's place across town. I sent money when I could. Not much, not enough. I saw Emily maybe twice that first year. Caroline would bring her by, and I'd sit there with this tiny person on my lap, and I'd feel like an actor playing a role I didn't audition for. I didn't know what to say to her. I didn't know how to be in the room with her. So I stopped trying. When Emily was 3, Caroline met someone. His name was Michael. He was older, stable. He had a real job, a house, a life that made sense. He was kind to Emily. He was kind to Caroline. And Caroline asked me if I'd be willing to step back. Not legally, not officially, just step back. Let Michael be the one who showed up. Let him be the one Emily called when she scraped her knee, or had a nightmare, or learned to ride a bike. She said it gently. She said it wasn't about punishing me. She said it was about giving Emily something solid, something she could count on. I said yes. I told myself it was the right thing to do, that Emily deserved better than a father who didn't want to be there, that she'd be happier this way. But really, I said yes because it was easier, because I was relieved. They got married when Emily was 5. I wasn't invited. I didn't expect to be. Michael adopted her a year later. Caroline called me to tell me. She said I could contest it if I wanted. She said it was my right. I didn't. I signed the papers. I gave her up. And for a long time, I didn't think about it. I moved on. I worked different jobs. I dated different women. I told myself I was living my life the way I wanted. I told myself I'd made the right choice, that Emily was better off, that I wasn't cut out for it anyway. I didn't talk about her. I didn't mention her to anyone. If someone asked if I had kids, I said no. It was easier that way. But sometimes, late at night, I'd think about her. I'd wonder what she looked like, if she was happy, if she remembered me at all. And then I'd push it down, because what was I supposed to do with that? I didn't hear from Caroline again until Emily was 12. She called me out of nowhere on a Tuesday afternoon. I almost didn't answer. I didn't recognize the number. But I did. Her voice was careful, polite, like she was talking to a stranger. She said Emily had been asking about me. Not a lot, just questions. Who I was, where I was,
why I wasn't around. Caroline said she'd told her the truth, that I'd left when she was little, that Michael had raised her, that I'd chosen not to be part of her life. She said Emily wanted to meet me, if I was willing. I didn't know what to say. I remember sitting there with the phone against my ear, my chest tight, my hands shaking, and all I could think was, I don't know her. This 12-year-old girl, my daughter. I didn't know her favorite color. I didn't know what she liked to read, or if she played sports, or if she was shy, or loud, or funny, or sad. I didn't know anything. And the idea of sitting across from her and trying to explain why I left, why I stayed gone, why I signed those papers, I couldn't do it. So I told Caroline I needed time to think about it. She said okay. She said to call her when I was ready. I never called. I don't know why. I told myself I was protecting Emily, that showing up after all those years would just confuse her, that she had a father already, that I'd only make things worse. But that's not true. The truth is I was afraid. Afraid she'd look at me and see exactly what I was. A man who walked away. A man who chose his own comfort over her. A man who didn't deserve to be called her father. So I let it go. Again. Years passed. I stayed where I was. I kept working. I dated a woman named Janet for a while. It didn't last. Nothing ever did. I moved to a smaller place. I got older. My knees started hurting. I stopped going out as much. And every so often, I'd think about Emily. I'd wonder if she still thought about me, if she was angry, if she'd given up, if she even cared anymore. When I was 67, I looked her up online. I don't know what made me do it. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was the fact that I was starting to feel my age, starting to realize that time wasn't infinite. I found her on Facebook. Her name was Emily Archer, Michael's last name. She was 29. She lived in Portland. She was a teacher. She had a dog. She posted pictures of hiking trails and coffee cups and friends I didn't recognize. She looked happy. I stared at her profile for a long time. I scrolled through her photos. I read her posts. I looked at her face and tried to see myself in it. I couldn't. She looked like Caroline. I thought about sending her a message. I typed it out a dozen times. Hi, Emily. You don't know me, but I'm your biological father. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'd like to talk if you're willing. But I never sent it. Because what was I supposed to say after that? What was I supposed to offer her? An apology? An explanation? A relationship? I didn't have any of those things. Not really. So I just watched. I checked her page every few months. I saw her get engaged. I saw her get married. I saw pictures of her wedding. Michael walking her down the aisle. I saw her pregnant. I saw her daughter. My granddaughter. And I realized something. Emily had a whole life. A full life. And I wasn't in it. Not because she pushed me out, but because I never tried to get in. I'm 81 now. I live alone. I don't have much. A small apartment, a few books, some photographs that don't mean anything anymore. I don't see many people. I don't have family nearby. The friends I had are gone, or moved, or just faded. Most days, I sit by the window and watch the street, and I think about Emily. I think about the first time I held her, how light she was, how her fingers wrapped around mine, and how I looked at her and felt nothing. And I wonder what would have happened if I'd felt something, if I'd stayed, if I'd tried. I think about the day I signed those papers, how easy it was, how relieved I felt. And I wonder if that relief was worth this quiet, this emptiness. I think about the message I never sent, the meeting I never asked for, the years I let slip by because I was too afraid, or too proud, or too ashamed to reach out. And I wonder if she thinks about me at all, if she's angry.